Hey, good afternoon, everybody. It's Gary here. And if you're new to my channel, welcome. Welcome aboard. If you're coming back for the second, third, fourth, or fifth time, welcome back. Good to have you. Today's episode entitled Medium Rare. I guess you gotta figure out what this is all about. It's about cooking some steaks on the grill, baby. It's getting to that time of year. So, this guy used to come in my store every Sunday. I'm going to get right to it. This guy used to come into my store every single Sunday from like the end of April through the end of September. And it was nice out. And he'd always buy a steak out of my case. Now, there's 4 steaks that do really well on the grill. The top of the line, I'm going to go from the best to the least, most popular. The best is filet mignon. People know what filet mignon are. People that go by filet or just filet is what we use, but filet mignon is the proper terminology for it. It's the most tender piece of the cow. Comes off the spine. And then the next one is the T-bone steak. On the T-bone steak, it's a piece of bone that looks like a T. One side is a strip steak, and the other side is a filet mignon. It's all married to a piece of meat called the T-bone. And then you got the strip steak, and then the ribeye steak. Those 4 are always found in my full service case. In any store in America, any store in the world, any butcher shop in the world, you're going to find those 4 items in your service case, and they're all about 1 inch to 1.25 inches thick. My company, we went with 1.25 inches thick. That's the best way, because most people like their medium rare to rare in the center. There's a special place in hell for people to get their meat well done. I'm just saying, if you're going to spend $20 for a hunk of meat, a 10 ounce cut of ribeye, and you're going to cook it all the way through, where it's like fucking leather, and you're chewing on it and chewing on it and chewing on it, a special place in hell for people like you. It's easier for the human body. I'm going to jump off subject for a second, but I'm on topic. To digest a piece of meat if it's rare. The human body will digest rare or medium rare faster and easier than well-done meat. That's just a fact. It's a fact. You can look it up. It's true. This guy used to come in every Sunday between now, like mid-April till the beginning of October. Every Sunday. I'm going to guess he was in his 40s or so. And he always bought service meat steaks. It was either ribeyes or strips, but he never went for the filet because the fillets are like $25 a pound. For an 8-ounce cut of meat, that's a lot of money. I mean, I made good money with my company, but I'm not buying a fillet. I'm more of a ribeye man or top sirloins. I didn't mention top sirloins. We'll go into that later. It's just a different piece of meat that goes really well on the grill, but you got to know how to cook. And I know how to cook. So this guy used to come in every Sunday, and he'd always buy strips. He'd say, hey, butcher man, give me a couple of those strip steaks. Never mind. When I cut them. My service case looked beautiful. I just took a lot of pride in my work. I was good at what I did. And these suckers were about 1 inch, almost 1.5 inches thick. On a Saturday and Sunday, they were thick. They were so thick it could choke a horse. That's how thick they were. Because people like their shit cut thick. So he'd buy a couple strip steaks. And this went on. I mean, this guy was coming in for like three years straight, so I knew he was a regular. This past my last year with the company, he came in, it was in May. And it was not my last year with the company. It was like 3 years before that because I had switched stores. He came into my store one day in May, and he goes, "Hey Gary, I gotta comment something. I gotta make a comment about my steaks." I'm like, "Oh, hey, what's on your mind?" I've been buying these for a while from you. I said, "Yeah, you have. You've been a good customer for me." He goes, I got to tell you, they're tough. Every time I get them home, Gary, they're just tough. They're edible, but they're chewy. What quality meat do you keep in your case? I said, well, we use Black Angus Choice or Prime, the top of the line. We don't mess around. Why? Well, I don't know. I eat them, but I've had better when I go to a restaurant. I said, let me ask you a question. How are you doing? How are you preparing them? Well, he goes, I know how to cook. I said, no, I didn't say you didn't know how to cook. I want to know how you're doing them. He goes, well, I take them out of the refrigerator. I said, okay. Okay, take them out of the refrigerator. Then what do you do with them? Well, I put olive oil on both sides. I said, okay, all right, you're right there. Then I season both sides. I said, okay, all right. Then I get the grill fired up. I got a gas grill. I said, okay, and what do you do? Because I fire it up, I get it on a grill, I get it on high, I close the lid and get that sucker up to about 400 degrees, 450 degrees. I'm like, all right, that's what I would do. Yeah. Then what do you do? Well, then I throw them on the grill and I shut the lid and I count 7 minutes. I said, okay. And I'm thinking chronologically, that's the first mistake he made. Actually, that's the second mistake he made. But I'll go back into that. He goes, and after that, I lift it over and I flip it over and I cook them for 7 more minutes and then they're done. And then take them off and they're done. Medium rare every time. Medium rare, Gary. Medium rare is the way I like them. I know how to do my meat. I'm like, okay, all right. But it's tough. It's tough. He goes, yeah, every time it's tough. I said, can I help you with this? Guys, because I really want to help you with this. And I'm not saying you know how to cook. I said, but there's a science behind doing a steak correctly on the grill. And he got offended when I said that. He goes, oh, you saying I don't know how to cook? I said, I did not say that. And I was not on a first name basis with this guy. I just knew he was there every Sunday. I was being nice to him. I said, can you give me a second? I said, because I know how to cook. I know what I'm doing. I'm a butcher. Give me a minute. He goes, all right, Gary. All right, Gary. What do you got? What do you got? Let's see what you got that I don't have. What do you got that I don't have? One of those numbers like he was being because he was with his wife and he didn't want to be one-upped by the butcher man, you know. I said, well, first off, I would, before you fire up the grill and before you put anything on it, take it out of the refrigerator, put it on a plate, and put olive oil on both sides and let it sit at room temperature. If that sucker's 1.25 inches to 1.5 inches, let it sit at room temperature for an hour. He said, an hour? Want to go bad? I said, do you want to know how to do it? I'm going to tell you how I do it. Let it sit at room temperature for 1 hour. And he's like, why? And his wife is like, why? Isn't it going to go bad? I said, you can let red meat sit out for an hour. What you're doing is you're allowing the inside of that meat become the same temperature as the outside of that meat. Do you follow me? He's going, well, I get it, but where are you going with this? I said, if the inside of the meat is the same temperature as the outside of the meat, it's going to cook more evenly. Thus, it's going to be more tender. That's half the battle. So the people watching this that don't know, listen up. I'm giving you some pointers. I'm giving you some bones. So you let the inside of that, and if it's thick like that, it's 1.25 inches, let it sit for an hour. If it's 3/4 inch to 1 inch, let it sit there for 40 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes. Or when I drank beer, I said to him, at the time I still drank beer, I said, he goes, an hour? I said, or 3 beers. He goes, what do you mean 3 beers? I said, just drink 3 beers, and after 3 or 4 beers, then you're ready to go. I mean, he thought that was funny. I thought it was hilarious. But that's how I gauge my meat. How many beers? No subject all the way together. I said, but what you're doing it 7 minutes per side is correct. But the way you're doing it is wrong. Let me help you. You get the grill nice and hot. You got that lid closed. You get up to 450 degrees. Get it hot, right? He goes, yeah. I said, okay, once it's room temperature, you got both sides with olive oil and then both sides with salt and pepper. That's all you need. Organic salt would work great. Sea salt. On both sides with pepper. Cracked pepper. All over both sides. Then throw that sucker on the grill and shut the lid and count 3 minutes. He said, 3 minutes? I said, just hear me out. I goes, all right. Count 3 minutes. Let that sucker cook. And then at 3 minutes, lift the grill lid, grab your tongs, and turn it 90 degrees. Shut the lid and go down 3 more minutes. He goes, why? I said, just listen to me. 3 minutes, turn it 90 degrees, 3 more minutes. He goes, all right. Okay, what are you doing? I said, you're getting the grill marks on the meat. You're getting the grill marks on the meat. And then, after the next 3 minutes, you lift the lid, flip that fucker over and count 7 minutes. And it's done. He's like, why all that turning and counting and time? And I said, it's a process. All the cooking is done on the first. The turn, the lay it on there, then turn it. That's most of the cooking is getting done there with the grill marks. You flip it over for the rest of the 7 minutes and it's done. You're going medium rare. That sucker's going to be medium rare in the center, and it's going to be so tender, your nipples will get hard. I didn't say that in front of his wife. That's what I was thinking. Or it'll make your asshole pucker. Well, whichever comes first. It's going to be a good fucking piece of meat when you're done. That's how you do it. If you want it medium rare in the center, 90 degrees, flip it 7 minutes, and take it off that fucking grill. And don't cut into it right away. That's what I said to him. Let it sit. Because it's going to continue to cook, see? When you take it off the grill, throw it on that plate and let it sit there for another 3 or 4 minutes before you cut into it. Won't it get cold? I said, no, man. It's going to stay hot. That's how you do it. Just trust me when I say this. That's how you do it. He goes, well, I never knew. I said, well, now you know. Well, the next week he came in and he was all smiles. He goes, Gary, it worked. It worked. I did exactly what you said. It came out great. I'm the star of the show. My neighbors, they're envious now that I had them over for dinner. I had a whole bunch of steaks. And they're like, how'd you do it? I said, I got a new recipe. I said, you didn't tell them I told you how, right? He goes, no, I told them that I had got a new recipe, boy. I'm the star of the show now. And he was by himself. I said, did you get laid? Did you get a little bit of that nookie from the wife because she was so proud of you? He goes, I don't want to go there. I didn't know him real well. I just knew he was a regular. But it was a guy thing. I was fucking with him, you know. But going into, but that was a true story. That had actually happened. The guy was fucking lost. Didn't know how to cook a steak on the grill. If you're going to spend $19-20 per 8-ounce to 10-ounce steak, you better know how to fucking cook that steak. 3 minutes. Turn it 3 minutes, flip it over 7 minutes. That's for medium rare. I mean, you'd have to gauge it differently if you're going to go well done. If you're going to go well done, I'm not telling you how to do it. Just throw it on the grill. Hey, if you want it well done, just throw it on the grill, shut the lid and count it. An hour later, pull it off. It'll be like shoe leather. It'll be burnt. There you go. Hey, don't bother even flip it. Just let it burn. But yeah, medium rare is the best way possible to get it nice and tender on the inside. And he was cool about it. He's so happy that I taught him how to do it right. Room temperature is the key. Get the inside of the meat same temperature as the outside. Now, I like top sirloin. Top sirloin's my game. That's my jam. I'll go out and get myself when I was working, I would cut myself a choice. I'd be back in the back cutting one. I cut a whole top sirloin and I'd wait to get to the very center and cherry pick it and get a nice 1.5 inch and 3/4 cut of meat. It would weigh over a pound. Because I could eat a whole pound of meat. I just love my red meat. And I let that sucker get to room temperature. I mean, 1.5 inch cut, pound and a quarter piece of meat, getting at room temperature, that's 6 beers. And back when I drank beer, people, I can drink. It was a sport for me, man. If I bought a 12-pack of beer, that fucking 12-pack of beer was gone by the end of the night. Was I an alcoholic? I don't know. I was never an alcoholic. Alcoholics had to go to class. I never had to go to fucking class. I just enjoy drinking beer. So I drink 6 beers, and by the time the last beer's down, the 6 beers down, it's ready to go on the grill. And I know the inside of that meat is the same temperature as the outside. Inside's the outside. See how that works? But yeah, man, that's all I got. It's a short one today. But I wanted to share that because a friend of mine was asking me just yesterday, because he was putting together his grill next door. He goes, hey, Gary, can you show me how to cook a steak? He's newlywed. Can you show me how to cook a steak? The wife wants to do some steaks on the grill. Can you tell me how to cook some? I said, yeah, I'll be happy to show you how to cut some meat. I'll be happy to show you how to, or give you some instructions on how to cook some meat. I'll even go to the store with you and help you buy one. I'll pick out some nice meat for you. My perverted side wanted to say to his wife, because his wife is smoking hot, here, let me show you my meat. I got some real nice meat. But I didn't want to say it to her. He's a newlywed. I don't want to fuck up his marriage. You know, that's just my sickness coming out. People that know my show, they know I'm a sick fuck. I just am. I can't help it. That's how I was wired. Anyway, that's all I got. I'm going to get off here. I got to cook some dinner tonight. I'm making lasagna. I'm having some friends over. Lasagna and garlic bread. It's not the best thing. It's loaded with carbohydrates, but man, it's so good. You know, it's so good to have that stuff every now and then. Everything in moderation, right? Moderation. That's all I got. But Gary said that 3 times now. Just get off the show already. Oh, I will. I'm out of here. Thanks for coming by and checking out my stuff. I appreciate you coming by. Take care of yourselves and each other. Peace out.